So that was the lift from the photocentric like tape flex vat that I've got running here right now on my Kudo3D Titan 1. The design here is pretty simple. Um, Ever since the very beginning, love them or hate them, people have complained about the durability of the stock vat. Personally, after using a lot of different designs, I actually quite like the stock vat. The stock vat is easy to print with. It's very forgiving and can handle a very gentle release, large amounts of lift, and things like vacuum forces, for instance, are not as critical with the stock flex vat as they are on most other printers. And so, everyone has read about how you've got to make sure to be worried about the suction cup vacuum force effect and design around it, otherwise something horrible will happen. And I certainly had the experience with my vat, and I think most other Titan 1 users have found that the suction forces are not a humongous deal. Nobody has complained really on the forums about crazy suction or vast improvement in performance from reducing the suction. Um, However, there are durability issues, especially with regard to the way that the Teflon film is adhered to silicone. And strong release forces can cause that Teflon film to come off of the silicone. And early on, a couple of users, T. Dixon and one of the other guys in Denver, designed their own flex vats, which are essentially tensioned Teflon film held on to the bottom of a frame. And these tension flex vats have the advantage that they are held on very strongly to the vats, and so the chance of them getting damaged is low. And they can be made to work. And so here's a version here that I've got that is simple to put together, because the original designs and many of the designs out there require a combination of CNC machining and laser cutting and a bunch of mechanical assembly and gluing and stuff. And that's quite a lot of effort. And so what I've got here is a much simpler design based on the design of the photocentric LED based or LCD based printer. If you've looked online on YouTube, Photocentric sells these daylight polymer 3D printers, and they have a very, very simple vat design, which is essentially a wall of acrylic with tension film held on with double stick tape. And it's a simple design, easy to put together, and they have instructions online on how to replace the film. They sell the film cheaply, and if you should damage the film, you replace it. It's just double stick tape. The frames are cheap, easy replacement, and the question is, can they work? And the answer is yes, they can. And in my case, I designed a frame to be printed on my 3D printer. It's just the easiest way for me to build it. Since I have a Lulzbot Taz, it's capable of printing a large object like this. PLA is fine with resin. So I printed out this PLA frame. It requires about, currently have it, I think, at a 6.5 millimeter wall. The design is on Onshape if you want to look at it. And it's essentially just a frame. And then there's what you can see here on the side here is I've got double stick tape. Photocentric uses regular double stick tape. I have a bunch of 3M VHB very high bonding strength tape, and that works, and that goes on the side. And then the film is just stretched over this on the bottom. They have a good video. Photocentric has a good video online how it's done, and I did it the same way. It's tensioned over the bottom of this. And then there's a piece of acrylic down here that kind of forms the base. The film will sag when resin's sitting in it. And that'll be the case no matter what film you use, whether you use 1 mil FEP or you go up to say 5 mil ETFE. Even though ETFE is twice as stiff as FEP film, the film will still sag under the weight, especially a big surface like this. And the Titan one has a big surface area, and we want to take advantage of that, but that means that the weight of the resin inside of the vat is significant, that it's going to bow no matter what. So you do need to put a backing on it. And I just have a thin piece of acrylic here, just the minimum necessary to create a flat surface without blocking the light too much. And it's pretty easy. I'm using here 1 mil FEP tape, FEP film. That works pretty well. And it turns out that a couple months ago on eBay, I bought some, I guess, 20 or 30-year-old stock, and I have like a couple 100 yards of FEP film from like the 70s, and this stuff doesn't really age, and so it's totally fine. And I've got a lot of it, and so you've been using it a lot for these experiments. So pretty simple. It's clamped down now. I'm designing a part that will make it easier to hold it down, hopefully using this part here. This is kind of what it looks like. It'll slide over this, and then you clamp it down, and that should hopefully hold down this side. I got to figure out what to do with this side. But that's not really what I wanted to talk about in detail. I really want to go over now kind of how this vat works and some of the things to look out for, because it's not the panacea. This is not the ultimate vat. There are differences in the way that it works with other types of vats, and in order to do that, I'm going to show you kind of a couple of different kinds of vats. First, how this whole assembly is put together, and then how it's different.